With the release of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 right around the corner, I figured now's the perfect time to revisit the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 on the PlayStation 2. The game that let you skate Alcatraz, grind through a zoo, and even play as Jango Fett. Pro Skater 4 marked a major turning point in the series. When you first boot up the game, this time around we get a gorilla yanking the Neversoft eyeball out of its nose. These intros never fail to entertain me. We're then greeted by the game's glorious opening theme, AC/DC's TNT, blasting as the roster of skaters is shown to us. I really enjoyed watching this intro. I mean, I love AC/DC, but if I'm being honest, I still think Pro Skater 3 has my favorite intro in the series so far up until this point. This time around, there are 14 pro skateboarders available to play as right from the jump. Bob Burnquist makes his return after being absent in Pro Skater 3. Mike V joins the roster as an unlockable skater that you can purchase from the in-game shop. You also get the ability to create your own skater. The Create a Skater feature has been reworked. It feels smoother and more intuitive than it did in the previous entry. It also helps that the graphics do look a bit better now as well. Not including any bonus levels, Pro Skater 4 features 9 main maps to skate through and enjoy. The first level that you are dropped into is College, a classic in my opinion, and one that I feel doesn't get nearly enough love. With this game, Neversoft made some major changes to the series formula, the biggest being the removal of the traditional 2-minute timer. Instead, you're dropped into a more open world style environment where you can skate freely and activate challenges by talking to NPCs. Each level contains 16 challenges, and to unlock new maps, you will need to complete at least 8 of them to progress and choose your next destination. While skating around the levels, you'll notice that the pro skaters aren't just playable characters this time around, they also hand out the challenges for you to complete. This was something I was really curious about when I first heard about the Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake, but unfortunately this feature won't be making a return, and honestly that's a shame, because having the pro skaters give you the objectives added personality and gave them more of an active role in the game. It made them feel like actual characters and not just avatars on a board. Now, some of the challenges are pretty simple, like hitting high scores or collecting the classic skate letters, but then they introduced new ones like grabbing the letters that spell combo without bailing or landing early. Gone are the levels dedicated strictly to competitions and medals. These are now individual challenges within each level. But one thing I do think was poorly executed, not the idea itself, but the way it was handled, was the addition of races and time trials, like the infamous Snake Run Solemn. I absolutely hate this challenge. You have to skate through a series of gates, and each of the 3 runs adds even more gates and tighter lines. The first 2 runs are manageable, but run 3? It's just brutal, unnecessarily difficult, poorly designed, and borderline rage-inducing. And I feel totally validated in saying that, because if you watch the demo clip on the main menu, even the developers can't finish it. That alone speaks volumes. To hell with this challenge, it straight up brought back childhood trauma. Now, when you complete a challenge, you're usually given the option to upgrade your stats, and this is where things get interesting. I'm pretty sure I've complained about this in past Tony Hawk games, but here it actually becomes a real gameplay factor. You really have to think about which stats you want to invest in, because depending on the challenge, your build can actually work against you. There were moments where my speed stats were so high I kept overshooting objectives, or my hang time was so off I couldn't hit certain gaps cleanly. It gets frustrating when you realize that you have to go back and rearrange your stats just to make progress. A big addition to this game was the inclusion of spine transfers, which helped you get around the maps and parks and created more fluid lines and combos to perform. Skitching to cars was also new, which I never really used unless it was something that was mandatory to complete a challenge. Controls overall are great and not too much of a departure from Pro Skater 3. It honestly just feels better and more fast paced with all the new mechanics introduced in this entry, and it honestly just gets better in the follow-ups. Now, just like in Pro Skater 3, you can view your trick list and manage them right from the pause menu, and look into which moves you prefer to have when skating and which button combos to initiate them with. I think each level in Pro Skater 4 was designed really well. Maybe not my favorite lineup in the whole series, but definitely home to some memorable standouts like Alcatraz, San Francisco, the zoo, and of course, College. While exploring these stages, you'll notice that a feature first introduced back in Pro Skater 2 makes a return: collecting money within each level. You can find cash just by skating around, completing challenges, or participating in mini games. Unlike Pro Skater 2 though, money isn't used to upgrade your stats. This time it's all about spending it in the in-game shop. Items in the in-game shop include things like new decks, clothing, and gear. But honestly, the fact that you can't preview any of it before buying them is kind of dumb. You're just taking a shot in the dark with your cash at that point. On top of that, you can use your money to unlock the final 2 levels, behind the scenes videos full of outtakes and developer shenanigans, and even cheat codes instead of typing them in like I used to as a kid. The shop also lets you purchase secret skaters like Mike V, Iron Maiden's Eddie, and most importantly, Jango Fett. I just love that we kept getting Star Wars characters in these games. It was such a random but awesome era for gaming. The soundtrack for Pro Skater 4 certainly has some bangers that you will feel nostalgic to, and it definitely brought back some memories for me. But if I'm being honest, I feel like the soundtrack for this entry was not up to par compared to the previous entries before it. I do love the option, however, to turn off which songs you want playing during gameplay. That is pretty dope. Pro Skater 4 brings so much replay value to the table. With just the amount of pro skaters you can choose from, including the secret characters, Create a Skater for me will always be something that I will go back to because nothing beats playing a game with someone you created yourself that helps with some immersion. Split screen multiplayer will always be great if you have a friend to go back and explore these titles with. I didn't have any, so I was not able to get any footage for it, but you know, like I said earlier, I feel like the level design was better in Pro Skater 3, but Pro Skater 4's gameplay was just a lot better and much faster paced, which made for a great experience. This was going to be the last title in the Tony Hawk series before it made a huge change in the follow-up with Underground. I did do a review of Tony Hawk's Underground years ago, which you can view on my channel now, and I'll leave a link to it at the end. But if you would like me to revisit that one again as well and perhaps do a new review on it, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll look into it. But if not, then I'll be moving right on to Tony Hawk's Underground 2 after this. Guys, my name is Pedro Ordonez, also known as GameLight7. Please subscribe, comment, like, thumbs up, do whatever you can to support this channel. Let me know what you liked most about Pro Skater 4 or what you didn't like about it in the comment section down below. Also, let me know what you would like to see me talk about in a future video, and I will see you guys next time in my next video. Peace out.